There we go!
After 17 attempts, this is my first clean drift run of the day. Before I show you the full clip, let's see what it took to get here. You'll probably notice that I cut out quite a few runs, and that's because, well, I mean, they're pretty much just spin outs. And also killed a couple cones along the way. Unlike video games, laying into the throttle really doesn't help get around a corner when drifting. In fact, having fine throttle control is pretty important, and throttle control is also used to steer around corners. I also learned that today. Contrary to popular belief, drifting also requires some traction in the back, and finding the correct threshold is pretty much the main challenge of drifting, in my opinion. For each run, I put the track conditions on the bottom left, and the reason behind this is because part of today's difficulty was that I was learning to drift between dry and wet conditions, so that really messed with me.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, that was fine though.
When drifting, you really have to contain your excitement and focus pretty heavily on what you're doing, which includes, again, throttle control.
Stay out wide.
I would be lying to you if I were to say that I was not excited after those first couple of clean turns, but that excitement ultimately led to me losing focus and spinning out, so don't do that.
God.
I switched camera positions because I wanted to see how much steering work I was doing. In drifting, you steer more with your pedals and less at the wheel. Letting go of the steering wheel to let the car self-steer is probably one of the coolest feelings ever. By the way, the track is hard to see in certain conditions, especially once it got wet out there. I'll do better next time at configuring the camera or buying some sort of a low-density filter to correct that problem. To be honest, these next couple of runs, I'm not sure what I was thinking, but I didn't do so well. But I decided to leave them up just for your entertainment. It's only a couple seconds long, but you can definitely tell in some situations I'm using too much throttle or too much steering input, and I really just lost the rhythm of the track in both situations.
well.
Coming with a background of racing and autocross for a few years and doing some track cross, there are a few habits from that you have to break, and the first is staying too close to the inside of the corner. The other thing is, well, throttle control. Having Trent ride with me was a boost in morale after the last few runs. It was great to have a cheerleader, even if I, well, didn't do so well.
It's a healthy dose of throttle.
After getting used to drifting in dry conditions, Mother Nature decided to up the difficulty. So instead of modulating the throttle between 0 and 100%, I had to readjust my throttle control to between 0 and 20%. I was told that drifting on a wet course is easier, but I don't know that I agree with that. It was a bit more difficult for me to feel the rear end falling within the traction zone that I was aiming for mid-drift. So after nailing my first run ever that was clean, I decided to give it another shot, see if we can go 2 for 2. And boom, right there. I held on just for a few hundred milliseconds too long. And the result, well, was disappointing, but you know what? I'm still going to chalk this one up as a win, because I was right there at the finish.
Yo, I'm going to exit here. Record with Henry so I can watch it later and see what happens. was way better than mine.
I had a bit of practice.
Well, that's it. I learned how to drift, and hopefully before too long, I'll be back at it. If you've ever wanted to drift or experience what it's like, I strongly encourage you to go do so. It's vastly different from any other motorsport I've participated in. And like I said, I'll be back.